Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Crunchyroll funimation situation that's going on. I figured I'd chime in on this because it is very relevant. I have been using both Funimation and Crunchyroll for a significant amount of time. I stopped paying for Funimation quite some time ago, but I did use it for a while and I started using Crunchyroll, and then eventually they merged and there was all that weird stuff going on. But apparently there's an issue dropping right now with this, and one of the headlines I saw was like, "Oh, your monthly subscription is going up for Crunchyroll. It's going to go from $54.95 to $100." And I'm just like, "What? That doesn't make any sense because basically what I'm paying right now for Crunchyroll is $100 a year. Like that's what it essentially cost me because I pay $7.99 a month. So that confused me. That seemed like a bit misleading, and it is. It's misleading as hell because the price for Crunchyroll is not increasing at all. Like if you if you have Crunchyroll, it's staying exactly what it was. What they meant to say was that if you have Funimation, if you pay for Funimation, their yearly subscription I think was $54.95, and you will have to exclusively be paying for Crunchyroll now, so it'll be what Crunchyroll is now. But like I said, from the headlines and everything else that I saw, everybody was saying that Crunchyroll is increasing their prices, and that, as far as I know, is not true. Maybe Chibi here will tell me something different. But I will be reacting to a Chibi video, as you guys can see, and we'll just kind of see what he has to say about it, because I watch a lot of his videos, and he seems to be in the know for a lot of anime stuff. So let's just get into this, shall we?
Going to be stepping on a lot of toes and probably pissing off a lot of people that are big fans of Crunchyroll or just subscription models in general, but I'm just going to say it like it is because I want to be unfiltered and just be honest as a content creator. Piracy is a service issue. And what is going on here, what you see on screen, is exactly what's going to cause honest customers, honest people that want to buy subscriptions to navigate their way into piracy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that piracy is a service issue. A lot of people will resort to piracy simply because companies are just refusing to give them a good enough service, or they'll show constantly that they don't like you or don't care about you or whatever. Um, it's pretty common. Like I remember when the subtitle thing was going on and all the stuff was going over for the localization, a lot of people stopped using Funimation and Crunchyroll and different program things like that because they were fucking up the subtitles and inserting their own, rhetoric into these shows and just kind of ruining them overall. So a lot of people was like, fuck it, I'll just go to one of the illegal sites and just watch it there then, so I don't have to deal with this crap. So I do believe that that is mostly the case. Some people just want free shit. Some people just don't want to pay for things, even if it's at the detriment of the thing that they like. Like they will refuse 100% to ever spend a dime on the thing that they enjoy, even if it dies. Like even if my doing this kills the thing that I enjoy, I don't care. I just want it for free, and if it dies, then who gives a shit? Uh, there are people like that too, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
And I want to talk about this because this news came out, in the middle of the day yesterday, and I want to discuss it because honestly, this does affect me, and it affects a lot of people that try to watch anime as legally as possible. And even if you are someone that pirates anime, this is still kind of relevant to you because this once again shows just like why Crunchyroll is continuously having a bad image and why their image is getting worse and worse as time goes on. So,
Yeah, they're I think Crunchyroll has been getting a bad rap for a while because they just do really stupid things. Mainly one of the things that I saw that was like a big one for them is they would make all these games or help publish all these games and then have people invest ridiculous amounts of money into them and then just shut them down once they're bored with it and just move on to another game that you now have to transfer over to and start playing that, so you can spend a ridiculous amount of money on that just so they can inevitably shut that one down too. So Crunchyroll has been embroiled in quite a few controversies over time, and I don't particularly like their company and the way that they do things or whatever, but as it stands, it's one of the best ways to legally watch anime. So, some people you just gotta suck it up and deal with it.
I want to read this and clarify a few things. So basically, this came out, and this was announced that Crunchyroll will be effectively ending the Funimation service on April 2nd, 2024. A few months from now, obviously. Now, the ending of the Funimation service is not something that is relatively, surprising. Let's just be completely blunt here. I've been making videos on this subject for years now, honestly, talking about, Sony buying Crunchyroll, Sony buying Funimation, the merger, all of that. I've talked about this. I've talked about the Right Stuff situation. This is stuff that's been actively going on, and I've said that with this company, Sony and Crunchyroll, they've been actively buying up all the competition and basically eradicating anything that could challenge them, effectively creating a monopoly within the anime and manga space. And so
Yeah, and that's never good. Never good. You don't ever want to leave a company unopposed because shit like this happens. They will just do whatever they want at that point. Just like Nintendo is a prime example of this, and the whole Power World versus Pokemon thing that's going on right now. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company were left unopposed in this genre for way too long. And finally a game showed up with the audacity to challenge them. And now the rabid fan base is pissed off, and people feel like, oh my god, you're encroaching on our territory. And it's just like, we just want to make something that's fun. We want to shake things up and make something that people will enjoy. It just kind of is what it is. But yeah, if we ever get to the point to where Crunchyroll is literally the only way to watch anime anymore, you better believe their prices are going to skyrocket. The quality of everything is going to drop. Uploads and stuff are going to become later and later, and all the standards that, and some people would argue they barely have any standards now, but any standards that they've had up until this point are just going to be non-existent, because they're like, who else are you going to watch? You can bitch and complain all you want, but we don't have to do anything. Where else are you going to go? You're going to go illegally watch it? Well, you're a piece of shit if you do that. So the only other option is to give us as much of your money as we want to take from you. And that's what it boils down to. As much of your money as we want to take from you. Because it's not like any of these prices are, totally reasonable once you get up to a certain point. Yeah, obviously you need money to maintain and keep the servers up and stuff, and these companies do need to make money to exist. But, some places are just greedy, and they want to get way more than what they should be getting.
Animation service coming to an end is not surprising. Anyone that obviously has any form of IQ, just any form of intelligence, is able to see the writing on the walls that Funimation was eventually going to be closed down.
Yeah,
but
100%.
To actually see it honestly really is the end of a legacy. Even if Funimation isn't the best service, in the final years of it, it had a lot of controversies as well, it still was a household name. It was the company that brought us, Dragon Ball Z to the United States. And seeing a company that had just such a significant impact in the anime industry coming to a close is honestly wild, especially when you know Crunchyroll's origin, and that Crunchyroll started off as a pirate site. Many people have forgotten about this, but
you know what? I did forget about that for a while, but there was something telling me when I got to the point to where I could actually afford to pay for Crunchyroll. Something was telling me, you didn't used to have to pay for Crunchyroll, if I remember, right? I swear to God, people used to go to Crunchyroll to watch it illegally, if I remember correctly. I didn't know, when Crunchyroll actually became a legitimate site, or even how they managed to pull that off. But, yeah, there was something telling me for quite a while that something ain't right about this. Why do I have to pay for this again?
Crunchyroll literally started off as a site to basically stream illegal anime. And then eventually it somehow managed to become a legal source of anime, and we've seen them where they're at today. Just crazy to see that that site has consumed Funimation. But getting back onto the main topic though, Funimation is effectively done. It's dead. Now what does this mean overall? Well, one of the big things that people have feared for a long time now is obviously price increases, but also the loss of their digital catalog. So let's get into that one. So basically, we have had a few discussions already. People are kind of discussing this and all that about digital copies of what they're going to be losing with Funimation being closed down. And Crunchyroll made a statement basically saying, yeah, you're out of luck. Sorry, you're out of luck. You're losing your digital copies. You don't own them. And yeah,
Yeah, well, this was one of those unintended, well, I'd say unintended, but maybe it was actually intended, consequences of gaming and anime becoming mainstream. So I grew up my entire life being made fun of for the stuff that I like, the anime and the shows and the video games and stuff. Like, everybody around me always had something negative to say about me enjoying this stuff. And all I wanted back then was for people to, recognize how good this stuff was and check it out themselves, and, for people to see the appeal, the same appeal that I saw in all the stuff that I watch. But I was always very cautious about that, because I'm just like, as much as I want this to happen, I know what happens to things that become mainstream. Because once the actual fans, the actual people who really love and enjoyed this stuff, once they become outnumbered, and basically now it's just like a normie thing where everybody, all the people who don't really care about it, don't care about the quality of it or whatever, just enjoy it because it's the thing to do right now. Once they outnumber the fans and stuff, everything goes downhill from there. Because now they don't have to appeal to the fans or the people who loved and respected and held this thing up for the longest time. Now they're not the priority anymore. Now it's just, we got to get this to the most massive amount of people as possible. And as a result, an unintended consequence is just the quality just drops from that point. Because the passion is gone. You don't have anybody to be held accountable to. You can just kind of do whatever you want at that point, or just do whatever's popular. And, things just kind of fall off from that point. And it's a double-edged sword. You really want, so we lost the whole stigma, and now it's a widely accepted thing. And even some of the same people who were making fun of you and talking shit about you for liking it before are now literal fucking, content creators in that space now, all of a sudden, and that's fine. I'm not complaining about that. I don't think that's a problem in itself. But where issues come in is people, all these people who don't really care about it or whatever, they come in and now they are the end all be all on how this stuff ends up. And when you have people who don't give a fuck about a thing determining how that thing is going to be, pushed forward from that point on, the quality drop is inevitable. There's no way around it, unfortunately. And it's happening to the gaming industry. It's happening to movies. It's happening to video games. It's just, I wish there was a way to avoid it, but people vote with their wallets. And if a company can produce garbage as opposed to producing something that they're really passionate about and care about and still make the same amount of money, 9 times out of 10, they're going to opt to just produce garbage because it's easier. I can do something easier and make the same amount of money. Most people are going to do the easier thing and make the same amount of money. That's just how people are.
We're not going to do anything to compensate you, not going to do anything to kind of give you these products or even some form of currency or whatever, or even a deal or, a sell on products or whatever. You're losing money. That's literally what Crunchyroll said. And let me give some more information to make sure we all fully understand this. So basically, if you went to Funimation and over the years, if you had a subscription or whatever, and you bought, let's say, Dragon Ball, okay? Let's just do a hypothetical, okay? Just hear me out. You bought a Dragon Ball movie, okay? Dragon Ball Z or Battle of the Gods, whatever, and, you had it as in the digital library on Funimation to be able to watch, okay? If you bought that with your hard-earned money and you had a massive catalog of movies you bought digitally, you will lose all of your digital copies because of Funimation being shut down.
Yeah, and that sucks too. Like there was a big thing, the digital versus physical debate, and I've always been on the physical side of the debate, even though I do like the convenience of being able to buy digital games and stuff. You really have to come to terms with the fact that you just don't own anything anymore. Like, you just don't. You bought it, you paid for it. Technically, it is indeed in your possession, but if you don't have a physical manifestation of that thing, you simply just don't own it. Any digital games you've bought on PlayStation Plus or anything like that, like if PlayStation ever shuts down, that's it. They're gone. You have no access to them and you will never have access to them again. You spent that money and it's gone forever. That's it. And you have nothing to show for it outside of the memories that you've retained from playing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they'll fucking snatch your memories out of your head or out of your brain and take away your experience of playing the game. You'll still have that, of course, but the item itself is gone. And that's starting to happen with, as he's saying now, with this anime stuff, all these subscription services and stuff like that, movies and video games becoming digital. You just don't own anything anymore, and it sucks because with everything going digital, you would think that some prices would have decreased because that was the initial appeal. They're like, okay, so we've gotten rid of all these other steps and made it very convenient for you to get this game, and we've saved a lot of money for not having to do all this other stuff. Naturally, the savings are going to come to you, but human beings are greedy. So no, that didn't happen. Digital copies are just as expensive as physical copies because fuck you. We could have made it cheaper. We could have. Absolutely. 100%. We could have done the right thing. But fuck you. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. You're going to bitch and moan about it and you're still going to buy it. So, kindly, fuck you. Give us your money and shut the fuck up. That's how it works, man. And it's going to continue to go that way. Things are going to continue to get worse over time, unfortunately, guys. Until you get enough people to band together and just fight against this shit, there's nothing we can do.
Crunchyroll is not going to give you those copies. They're not going to allow you to watch them. So effectively what they're saying is you have no rights to your streaming copies. And this is kind of a big issue that's been going on with a lot of different forms of media in the industry as of late. This isn't just, let's say, a Funimation digital copy problem. This is just a straight up, media problem. Like gaming is having the same issue as well, is that you own your media anymore. If you buy a game, you don't really own it. You're buying a license to be able to download it, but when that license eventually ends, if let's say the service kind of closes down or whatever, you're going to lose that copy. So that's effectively what's happening. You have, customers, really like honor-bound customers, people have been paying for these products for a long time, are about to lose hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars because of the closing of Funimation, which is just outright awful to see. I guess Crunchyroll's overall disregard for people's actual money they spent. And it really just goes to show how this company really cannot get out of just hot water.
So, one of the interesting things that people will probably bring up is whether or not it is Crunchyroll's obligation to uphold and to accommodate the digital libraries and stuff that Funimation accumulated. If I was to be asked this question, I would say yes, it is their responsibility. They bought the company. They wanted to basically eliminate any competition, so they bought the company, which means they bought all the stuff that came with it. It would be in their best interest as a company to keep good favor with their customer base and to make the transition from one point to the other as smooth as possible to accommodate said servers. But, there's a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff that we may not know. How much does it cost to maintain Funimation servers with all this stuff and all that? What would Crunchyroll have to do in order to make up for that extra added cost that they didn't initially have before? There's a whole bunch of questions that could be asked as to why they would need to do that. But at the end of the day, it's pretty safe to assume that it probably wouldn't be that much of a hit on their bottom line. And it would probably be in their best interest financially to just keep it and stay in the good graces of the people that are going to be paying for these services. But a lot of these people are very short-sighted. They think about the immediate and what's going on now, and as opposed to gaining good favor with the fan base and hoping for profits to increase because of that before. They're like, we'd rather manipulate and take advantage of people and get the money now, because we'll have the money already. Like we'll have the money, and that'll be it, you know. Now, as far as like, I don't know if Crunchyroll has any like digital services like that where you can like buy digital movies and shit, and they're just like stored that you can watch anytime you want. I didn't even know Funimation did that, to be honest, but I would have never fucking done that, period. Like for me, when it comes to anime, manga, and stuff like that or whatever, I'll pay for a subscription service, sure, but I would never like buy a Blu-ray copy or something like that, or just like a digital copy of a movie. I would never do anything like that because I know that I don't own it and I won't own it. So if that's the case and I actually want a physical copy of a movie, of a specific film, then I would just buy the physical copy because I know that I'll have it and it'll be mine. So I didn't even know that was a thing, and I wouldn't have done it anyway because it just doesn't seem to make any sense. Video games are a little bit different because they just are. Don't really ask me to articulate on that because I couldn't really give you a justifiable reason why that's different or not. That's just how I feel, and feelings aren't always logical. They don't usually make any sense, but I feel differently about digital games than I do about movies, and that's probably hypocritical, but I mean, I don't know what to fucking tell you. It's just the way I feel.
With the drama and controversy. Now, let's talk about the price hike for a second, because this one is a little bit misleading, but it is still, and this is obviously eventually going to lead to price hikes in the future for regular consumers of Crunchyroll subscription service. So for one thing in particular, basically, this right here, increasing the price of, $54.95 a year to $99.99 a year, this is an increase if you're a Funimation account. So, for instance, if you're someone that was a Funimation subscriber and you subscribe to a yearly plan, you're rolling over into the Crunchyroll plan now, and your price increases this. So, basically, if you're a Crunchyroll subscriber and you didn't have a Funimation account, there's not really much of an increase whatsoever. But if you're someone from Funimation, your price is basically doubling.
Yeah, exactly. And I would wager there's not a lot of people who have exclusively Funimation and not Crunchyroll. Like, that seems kind of odd to me. Like, unless you just really like dubbed anime, like, and that's just all you watch, then I can imagine you would be, maybe just Funimation or whatever. But yeah, that the way this was worded and it was set up, it just seems weird because it seems like they're saying that the Crunchyroll subscription has increased, and that's not really the case. But one thing I will say, 100% guaranteed without a shadow of a doubt, I would bet every fucking penny that I currently have in my bank account at this exact moment, 100% Crunchyroll's price will be going up within the year. Absolutely, without a doubt. No questions about it. 100%. Now, it hasn't done it yet, or they haven't stated that they would be doing it yet, and everybody who's paying for Funimation and have to switch to Crunchyroll, they will be paying more. That's clear. But guaranteed, Crunchyroll's prices will be increasing very soon. Or if not, just eventually. It's going to happen. There's no way around it.
Getting doubled in price to line you up with the normal subscription model of, let's say, regular members of Crunchyroll. Now, this might seem like, oh, that's fair and all, now they're just making it streamlined, but the thing is that the fact that they're doubling the subscription service while not really offering as much as they could, especially with this just shoddy digital copy debacle going on, this is just a slap in the face to Funimation subscribers.
Now, that I agree with, especially considering Funimation literally doesn't have access to the stuff that, or Crunchyroll doesn't have access to the stuff that Funimation has when it comes to those digital copies and stuff like that. So coming from a Funimation perspective, somebody who just has Funimation, who had access to all of that stuff now, essentially what Crunchyroll is saying is, we are completely dismantling the thing that you paid for that you enjoy. You are getting less services. You are getting less, digital access to digital stuff, whatever. And we are literally deleting all of the stuff that you paid for up until this point. And you have to give us double the money. So it's like a triple fuck you. Because they're like, the thing you like is going to be gone. The things you purchased are going to be deleted. And you have to give us double money. And you won't even have access to the same amount of things. It's just a straight up, like, it's literally like Crunchyroll sending you an email that's, when you open it up, it literally says fuck you and everything you stand for. And we mean that from the bottom of our hearts. We look forward to taking more of your money, you fucking gullible piece of shit. And that's it. Like, we don't care about you. We don't care about what you want. We just want your money, and now we're going to be taking more of it. How does that make you feel, you little bitch? Like, that's essentially what this is telling them. And they don't care. Like, they don't care about how you feel about it. You can cancel your subscription, and they don't care for some reason. Even though they seem to be these money-hungry companies who want to do anything to make money, they still don't care if you stop giving them money. They don't care. It's weird. It doesn't seem to make any sense. You would think that they would go out of their way to try to accommodate and make the people happy, but they're just like, in their minds, they're like, we don't care. If you don't give us money, everybody else is going to have to anyway. You don't matter. You're insignificant. Just shut up and give us your money. And if you don't shut up and give us your money, somebody else will.
If, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I have a Funimation subscription. I have a Crunchyroll subscription. I do it because I'm an anime YouTuber. I gotta cover anime and stuff. I'm just gonna be blunt. But, like, if I was a normal common Joe, like someone that wasn't making anime content, you know, on YouTube, I would cancel. Straight up. I'm gonna be blunt. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I know it's gonna get me in hot water. That's probably gonna cause it to where these companies don't want to sponsor me or whatever. But I'm gonna be blunt. I would straight up cancel. Serious. I really would. But anyways, getting back onto the topic though, is this going to affect regular Crunchyroll subscribers? Well, probably. Let's talk about that. We got to think about what's been going on, the current trends within the streaming industry as of late. We got to look at Disney here. Disney just released this literally yesterday around the same time as Crunchyroll's announcement that they basically lost a lot of money and they lost 1.3 million subscribers thanks to their price hike. AKA, if you were unaware, Disney Plus increased the prices of their service, and people's reaction was basically saying, nah, you know, we're unsubscribing. And yeah, makes a lot of sense, because it's just getting outrageous. It's like, these companies have gotten too comfortable with thinking that we like their brand, when in reality, we just bought the subscription model because of convenience. And when you make your subscription model less convenient than piracy, then people are going to resort to doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the logical conclusion to come to. I feel like that's the logical conclusion to come to. But like I said, some people look at this and they're like, well, I mean, it's worth it though. You know, we may lose some people, but at the end of the day, we're still going to be making a shit ton of money. And a lot of people don't care about this enough. The mainstream people, the people who are a part of the masses and the majority, they don't care enough to do anything about it. They got much bigger problems in their lives, and I totally understand that. Like, you know, a lot of people look at other people who don't care about this stuff, and they're like, wow, you guys are scum. How could you not care about this thing that's affecting us so negatively? You should care. You should care what's going on, and you should do something about it, just like I do. And it's like, man, people ain't got time to be worried about that shit. There's so many people who have way bigger problems than worrying about fucking what the hell Crunchyroll is doing. The price goes up, they're like, ah, man, that sucks. But, you know, it is what it is. I still got to take care of my family, look after my kids. I still have to do X, Y, and Z. I don't have time to be worrying about what the fuck is going on with some anime service. And if push comes to shove, fuck it. I'll just cancel it. Who gives a shit? Like, I don't, like, you know, that's how majority of people think. They don't really care. They just pour money. And there are people who pay for subscriptions and don't even know. They don't even remember that they signed up for it. They're just pouring money into these companies just because it's the thing that you're supposed to be doing right now. So, like I said, that's the negative part of things becoming mainstream. And that's how we kind of ended up where we are right now, unfortunately. It is what it is, man.
Piracy. It's like I said at the beginning of the video, piracy is a service issue. That's exactly what it is. And let's talk about that. Why would people subscribe when they obviously could easily go to a site to watch these things for free? Well, a good example is you know, the the feeling of not having to worry about the site going down. Like a good example of this, Crunchyroll. Let's bring up Crunchyroll since it's relevant to this conversation. To subscribe to Crunchyroll, why would someone do this? Obviously, it's because they don't have to worry about the site eventually being taken down from DMCA or copyright or whatever. They don't have to worry about Japan coming in and just slapping everything down. Well, on top of that, they don't have to worry about viruses because, yes, let's be blunt here, a lot of pirate sites that watch illegal anime or whatever, manga, whatever, do have viruses sometimes. Malware, viruses, yeah.
Yeah, it's the sense of security, knowing that the site is still going to be there the next time you want to get on it, obviously not being bombarded with a bunch of ads and stuff like that, clicking on stuff that will take you places you don't want to be and put stuff in your computer you don't want. It's the convenience, and people will pay money for convenience. As a matter of fact, most of the reason people pay for anything a lot of times is just how convenient it is to them. But the moment that convenience proposition is like decreased or declined in some way, the scales kind of tip in the opposite direction. Maybe it is worth going to these websites and possibly risking your computer to not have to deal with this bullshit. Maybe this stuff has become too expensive and now I'm willing to take that risk, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's gonna end up happening in the future.
You can get ad block and all that, but sometimes they could slip through the cracks. It can happen. And on top of that, you have just ad spam. Yeah, ad block can, get around this, but it's still the point. You have ads, you have viruses, you have the site that can be taken down, potentially low resolution and shoddy quality of the actual anime you're trying to watch. Sometimes the episodes are not there, maybe episode 1.
That's another really good one. The quality of the episodes are much worse on a lot of these pirated sites too. Like 720, if you could get 720, it's just like a miracle a lot of times. So yeah, that's another big one. Sometimes episodes are missing. That's another big one too. It's just, the convenience of having everything kind of neatly in place. They're going to get the newest episodes when they come out. There's not going to be any issues with the subtitles and stuff like that. That's why people pay for Crunchyroll.
So it makes sense why people would subscribe to this, because out of convenience, it's easier, they don't have to think about it. But when you continuously up your prices, and you start to eat away at people in an economy that is hurting, let's just be blunt here, the economy in the world is hurting. Inflation and everything, it's really bad. And people don't have the money to have an entire price increase of doubling. Like, Funimation subscribers don't have probably, like, the money, or even if they do, they don't want to spend, double the price for a subscription when they can just get everything for free by going to a site, and just a little bit more convenient. So the point of the matter is these companies have forgotten why streaming happened in the first place. It was because it was convenient for people to stream online instead of going to, let's say, TV and watching it on your TV, like TV broadcasting and cable and all that, because you were just constantly spammed with ads, so many breaks and stuff. It was just straight up annoying. And so people turned to streaming services. And then obviously now streaming services have basically become cable once again, and piracy is starting to ramp back up. So yeah, all I'm saying is what's going on here is that Crunchyroll is just slapping everyone in the face, and they have killed off any competition that they've had. Like, to be honest with you, Crunchyroll could theoretically just double their price right now. Like, if they wanted to, if they really wanted to, they could say, oh, you gotta pay $200 a year for our subscription, and there's not really much you can do about it. And
yeah, that's what I was saying. They could do that at any moment, and they're going to. They are going to. Like, it's not a hypothetical. I genuinely believe it's not they could do this or they might do it is 100% gonna happen. We just need to see how much it's gonna be and when. But I don't know. Like I said, it's a frustrating topic because of obviously the nature of it, and human beings always find some way to fuck shit up. Unfortunately, it just kind of is what it is. I'm probably still going to be paying for Crunchyroll up until the price hike, honestly, because nothing really changes for us right now, but it's going to come. They need to find some way to make a value proposition. They can't just come out and say, we're increasing the price of this and that's it. We're just doing it because fuck you, we want more of your money. Like, they need to do something. There needs to be an offer or something, like they give you, like, this is what you get for paying for more. If they don't do that, like it's really going to be a problem. And I don't want to be one of those naive people who thinks like, yeah, once they increase the price, then they'll learn their lesson cuz people are going to stop. People aren't going to. They're just going to deal with it. As long as Crunchyroll remains to be one of the only places where you can go and watch anime legitimately without all those issues of worrying about pirate sites, people will continue to pay for it. They're going to piss and moan, they're going to bitch, and they're going to talk about how terrible it is, but they're still going to pay for it. And there are going to be people who outwardly say, like, I'm done paying for this shit. I'm never going to, because they want to look good on the internet, but they're still going to be paying for it. And they're still going to be watching Crunchyroll whenever nobody's looking, because at the end of the day, you're going to use what's available to you. That's just how people are. And some people care about it more than others. There's a bit more to the video, but I think we've kind of gotten to the point here where we understand what the issue is and what the conversation is. And I don't want to have to repeat myself much more than I already have up until this point. So if you want to see the rest of the video, his link is going to be down in the description below. I think I've said enough that I want to say on the topic. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section below. Is this affecting you? Were you a Funimation person who now has to switch over to Crunchyroll and pay double and also lose some of your digital assets or digital stuff that you paid for? Like, how is this affecting you in any way? Do you agree with me and think that the prices are going to go up on Crunchyroll at the same time? Let's talk about it. Have a little discussion. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you guys soon.